Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. I just returned from the Winter NAMM show in Anaheim, California. At the Winter NAMM show, there are a ton of new products introduced, and some of those products always stand out. They get a lot of the attention, a lot of buzz at the show. We did live videos from the show. I did 3 live broadcasts from the show to spotlight some of those products. But there are other products introduced as well that deserve just as much attention. Today, I'd like to tell you about 10 of those products that I saw at the show that I think are really cool. First up is the A-Design's JM3001 channel strip. This is a combination of a mic preamp, instrument preamp, and a 3-band parametric EQ, single rack space, transformer balanced outputs, and you can separate the EQ from the preamp. So you can use either the preamp by itself, the EQ by itself, or you can use it actually as a channel strip. The A-Design stuff sounds great. I love their Pacifica preamp, for example. I have one in my studio, and this looks like it's really going to be a sweet unit for recording in the studio or live, wherever you need EQ and a preamp at the same time. On the guitar side of things, Morpheus introduced a new pedal called the Bomber. It's a pitch shift pedal, and it's one of the best sounding pitch shift pedals that I've heard. It'll go 2 octaves down or 5 octaves up. And I heard a guy demoing it live, and he was using it to actually create the sounds of a detuned guitar, so as if the guitar had been shifted down by a couple of steps for real heavy kinds of things. But the tone actually sounded just as authentic as it did when he was playing the straight sound without any pitch shift to it. I was really impressed with the sound of this at the show. I can't wait to get my hands on it and hear what it sounds like in my studio. There were 2 new microphones that really jumped out at me. They're kind of at the opposite ends of the spectrum. The first one was the Sennheiser MK4. Now, this is a microphone that's aimed at project studios and home studio users, but it's also designed to have premium sound quality. It's the first large diaphragm condenser from Sennheiser. Looks like it's really a nice unit. I've actually already have one for review. I can't wait to put it through its paces, and I'll try to report back to you here on the sound of that microphone. David Bach at Bach Audio also introduced a new microphone, and that's the 241. They previously had the 151, which was a cardioid-only version of sort of the 251, the old Telefunken 251. Now they've got the 241, and what he's done is he's changed the acoustic, the head grill, to get a better acoustic response and to more accurately simulate the sound of a 251 in a cardioid polar pattern. Looks to be a really nice microphone. Once again, I can't wait to get my hands on that one and try it out in my studio. At the Neumann booth, they had a big surprise for everybody. Neumann is now making active monitors. They acquired K&H monitors, Klein & Hummel monitors, and they're making a new line of monitors starting with the KH120. This is a very compact, lightweight monitor, 5¼ woofer, 1-inch tweeter. The demo that I heard was simply amazing. The amount of bottom end these speakers put out, the amount of clean power that they had, and how lightweight and compact these speakers are was really surprising. Very good sounding units. On the studio convenience front, many of us have gone to DAW-based studios where we're not using patch bays anymore. So patching external preamps, processors, gear into our signal paths is kind of a challenge. You have to crawl behind your rack and repatch things. It just gets to be a hassle. Well, ART has a solution for that. They came out with a T-patch and the X-patch. They're desktop units. The T-patch has 8 TRS patch points in it. It's a very compact little unit, sits on your desk, and you can easily patch things in and out. The X-patch is the same thing, but with 3 XLR patches. These are going to be really useful in just about any studio. The iPad was everywhere at this year's NAMM show, from demonstrations of applications that would control mixers, software, synthesizers, to people on the show using it in place of a notebook or to keep track of their schedules during the show. The iPad was everywhere. Well, Elisa's had a very cool new product for iPad users. It's called the Studio Dock. Basically, you slide your iPad in, it gives you 2 XLR and TRS connectors, MIDI I/O, and a USB connection, so it really can become the centerpiece for a recording rig or for a MIDI rig. Very cool little unit, very affordable. I think it's going to be fun for everybody who's an iPad owner. On the mixer side of the equation, Allen & Heath had a new console at the show, the GSR-24. Now, this is a 24-channel analog console, 2 stereo inputs, and 2 tube microphone preamps that you can patch in and use to warm up the sound if you want to. It's also a DAW control surface, and it has a built-in 32x32 FireWire interface. You can send 32 channels into your computer, get 32 channels back out, use the mixer to do all your mixing, and as a front end and as a back end to the system. Allen & Heath gave me a great demo of this mixer. And when I saw it, it really brought me back to the days of when I just sit down at a console, plug in a microphone, and start making music. I think this one's going to be very cool for those who are looking to have a more hands-on approach to recording in the studio. Several products from Roland, of course, really jumped out at this show, the GR55 synth, the V Grand, the RD300. But they had another product that was off on one side of their booth that I thought was really outstanding, and that's the VR5. Now, the VR5 is actually a video switcher. You can send 5 video inputs into it. It also can accept audio inputs. It can do titling. It can do captions. It'll do transitions when you switch from one video source to another. But the cool thing is that it's set up so you send your video in and you send it out over streaming. So it instantly becomes a streaming web video right from where you're at there. Basically, it gives you a whole TV studio right in your home or your office or your church or your school or wherever you may be located. I think this product is really going to be important. And finally, here's one that I think a lot of people saw but may have glossed over and not realized really how important it could be, and that's the Sonox Fraunhofer Pro codec. Now this is a plug-in that basically will encode directly to MP3 or other compressed formats. Now why is this important? If you think about it, when I'm working in my studio, if I'm mastering or I'm mixing, I'll create a mix, then I've got to bounce over to another program to actually do the encoding into MP3, and then I've got to listen back to it, maybe go back to my original mix, make some tweaks. So there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of time wasted. With this plugin, you can insert it directly into your DAW. You can hear what the sound is going to sound like as it goes through the codec in real time, so you can be mixing and mastering with that final MP3 or other compressed format in mind. I think this is really going to be important for mix engineers as well as for mastering engineers. I think this is really going to be a big product. So there you have it. 10 products that deserved a lot more attention at NAMM. I hope you enjoyed hearing about them. Please check them out. Give your Sweetwater sales engineer a call if you need more information. I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.